everyone. Today's theme is the Arab-Israeli conflict. And today we will have an interview with Ban Ki-moon, the General Secretary of the UN. Good night, Mr. Ki-moon.
Oh, good night. Thanks.
Well, here we are. I'm very interested in this topic and its importance.
Then I will be very glad to help you in this interview.
Okay, let's get started. What was the situation? I mean, how did everything begin?
After a diaspora that lasted centuries, the Zionist movement is born, founded by Theodor Herzl, defending the regrouping in Palestine of the once exiled Hebrew population. The first settlements began in 1882, and by the times of the World War II, the number of Jewish people in Palestine had reached the 80,000. Palestine was in the list of territories that were shared out between Great Britain and France. But Great Britain had already won the Jewish community's sympathy for the promise of establishing a national homeland for the Jewish. That's how, from the 1920s, the pressures from the Zionist organizations demanded to the British government what had been promised to them. The Arab-Israeli tension started with the arrival to Palestine of the Jewish immigrants, since this land was occupied by the Arabs. The Holocaust and the severe extermination politics that the Nazi regime performed increased the Jewish population flow. Arabs and Jewish cried out for the right of a known state. At this point, the United Kingdom leaves the conflict in the UN Security Council, which accords the partition plan for Palestine.
So I have understood that this plan was made for giving each part a respective land. But did it work?
Actually, for the Palestinians, the UN's resolution only made a treaty that justified the wrong sketch frontiers in order to give the Jewish a home. After the British abandoned the colony, the first Arab-Israeli war was inevitable.
コンソメパンチポンチじゃないよコンソメパンチうまさが効いてるコンソメパンチコンソメパンチコンソメパンチパンチで元気コンソメパンチ
What have been the UN's interventions on the Arab-Israeli conflict?
After the partition plan, we have done a lot of things. It has established that the refugees have the right to return to their homes, and it admitted Israel as a member of the United Nations. It established Jerusalem as a corpus separatum under an international regimen and administered by the UN. Sovereignty and rights for the living in peace in the respective territories were recognized. The UN also participated in many occasions asking for the cessation of attacks and army retreats, as the extreme one asked to Israel when it was over Lebanon. It is even determined that the settlements that Israel uses to do are invalid before the law and are acts of injustice. One of the clear verdicts that the UN gave was the peace treaty between Egypt and Israel, after this last one returned to Sinai. Nevertheless, Israel doesn't obey easily, so it causes trouble to our organization's authority and also to the seeking of peace.
Oh, I'm so sorry for those people. It seems that the conflict is getting worse than ever. What do you think? Will it ever finish? Why does this happen?
The feelings born from the murder of someone's family, friends, or even just compatriots will always be explosive and bad received. The helplessness of avoiding the pain and humiliation is only introduced as a wish of revenge. We all know it's impossible to forget, but to forgive is where the answer resides. Because after, and only after forgiving, is when men start working as a unified race. I know I may sound like a childish dreamer, but I'm just theorizing about a utopian future, of which I can still see a spark of hope.
I'm sorry, but you're right. It sounds like an unreal alternative to reality.
Yes, I'm sure it does. But what would men's imagination be for if it's not for having hope?
I guess that is so true.
I believe so.
Okay, well, we have finished. Thank you very much for your time. Mr. Kimun,
You're welcome.